Can you put your hands together for the choir right now? Come on, they singing better than y'all clapping right now. Touch the person next to you as we pray. God, I give myself away so you can use me. But in order to use me, God, you must first wipe away my transgressions and blot out all my iniquity. Stand up now, God, in sinful humanity named Alphonse Allen Jr. Throw yourself around like you've never done before. For you are mighty, and somebody today needs your power. Come, Holy Spirit. Come, Heavenly Dove, with all of thine quickening power. I'll be so careful, God, not to take any credit for myself, because I'm certain today it's not my ability, but it's your anointing that breaks the yokes in the lives of your people. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, my rock, my strength, and my redeemer. And the people of God said amen. All over the house, if you can stand, we ask that you would stand. Beginning at the first Sunday of this year, we started a series that will last the entire year on social justice. Saints, I want you to know when there is injustice and social upheaval in the world, historically all that has been is an opportunity for God and a way for God to set up the black church to do great things. If you will go with me to Matthew chapter 18, you heard verses 7 through 9 for your hearing and understanding, but I'm going to read one verse. Tell your neighbor just one verse. Matthew chapter 18, beginning at verse 15, you'll find these simple words. If your brother sins against you, go to your brother alone. Somebody shout alone. And show him his fault just between the two of you. And if he listens to you, you have won your brother over. You may be seated in the presence of God. I want to preach today on how to respond, how the church should respond when we are offended. How the church should respond when we are offended. Saints of God, one of the sad realities of the black experience is that we have been talked about and talked to so badly over the past 200 years that we have become like our oppressor and we are now talking bad to and about one another. Since this week, many of us watched as Lynn Patton, a former wedding planner, who is now the head of the regional HUD, Housing and Urban Development Office that oversees New York and New Jersey. She set up a firestorm on Wednesday by calling April Ryan, a veteran White House journalist and CNN journalist. She called her Miss Piggy in a tweet. Saints, the issue all started when Miss Ryan, who I said is a CNN journalist and political analyst, made a statement about y'all President Donald Trump Sunday night and his attack on the media. And Miss Patton, who was a young black conservative female, thought it was her responsibility to come to her president's defense. And just like her president, she resorted to name calling. Now, saints, this is wrong on so many levels. And I want to be fair to Ms. Patton. Now, we get the fact that April Ryan is a celebrated journalist, and Ms. Patton was appointed by Donald Trump despite having no experience in housing or government. But to be fair to Ms. Patton, though, she did publicly apologize, but Ms. Ryan would not accept and did not accept her apology, and even vowed publicly that this thing is not over. Now, saints, here's my issue with the entire incident. One, they are professional public figures who chose to air out their differences for the whole world to see. Secondly, they are both black females, and their public fight shows just how divided we are as a people. And thirdly, Mrs. Ryan's refusal to accept Ms. Patton's apology shows how hard we as a people are on one another once we're offended by one of our own. Saints, listen, we as a people, and I'm talking about black people right now. Can I talk about black people for a moment? We have to learn how to disagree with one another in a respectful manner. And saints, listen, we have to learn how to stand our ground, how to be passionate about the things we are passionate about without sinking to gutter tactics and gutter language. And since, let me say this and then I will move on. But since this incident, both of these women claim they have received death threats. And Ms. Patton claims that her death threats have come from African Americans. And says all of this got started because, like her boss, she doesn't know how to be a Christian and disagree. Saints, in Matthew 18, Jesus is preparing his disciples to live without him and get along when he's gone. And Jesus knows that this 12 or soon to be 11 disciples will have to learn how to take the high road while others will take the low road. And maybe it's just me and the disciples, but saints, it's hard to be a good Christian when your enemy is a bold devil. It's hard not to go low when your enemy has gone lower than low. Now, since Jesus knows in Matthew 18 that his church, especially the back church, will always be under attack. And since Jesus already told Peter and his disciples that the church and the disciples would always be persecuted by the enemy. Where is that at, preacher? Well, I'm so glad you asked. One day, Jesus asked the question of his disciples, who do men say that I am? And Peter told him, Jesus. They gave various answers, and then old Peter jumped up and said, thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God. And Jesus responded, Petros, which means rock a little pedal. Flesh and blood has not revealed this to you. And upon this Petro or rock, a mighty boulder, I'll build my church, and the gates of hell will not prevail against it. Now, some denominations say that the church is built on Peter because the word Peter means rock. But I stopped by to tell you that's incorrect, and it is not true. Jesus said, Petros, little pebble, upon this Petro, mighty boulder, I will build my church. And the rock or boulder Jesus was referring to was Peter's confession that thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God. Saints, Jesus knew that the black church would always be under the attack from the gates of hell. But saints, hear me and hear me well this morning. Bombs and grenades from the outside will never destroy the black church. Did y'all hear what I said? Racists and haters from out there cannot destroy this house. But what can destroy the black church, and what is destroying the black church, is the stuff that's happening on the inside. Do me a favor, touch your neighbor and say, neighbor, it's an inside job. And saints, historically, every time the black church has prayed, our prayers have changed the course of history. Do I have anybody to know what I'm talking about is true? Every time the black church has stood on the word, God has given us wonder-working power. So the devil knows he cannot do a thing to us when we in the church are praying and standing on God's word. Saints, no devil is coming from the outside to destroy the church, and the devil knows that. So what the devil does is he knows he cannot destroy us from the outside. The devil creates as much chaos, confusion, and mess as he can on the inside. Y'all ain't helping me yet. Saints, there's a therapeutic phenomenon called black self-hate. It goes by the 21st century name, internalized racism. And saints, internalized racism is when people own and operate, or they internalize the racist attitudes leveled at them by another group. Internalized racism is when a people become who their oppressors say they are. Internalized racism, it's a conscious and sometimes unconscious acceptance of racial views that pit black people against other black people. Y'all ain't helping me yet. Saints, that's why black on black crime is so high. That's why some middle class blacks refer to the Black Lives Matter protesters as retarded kids or a thug group. That's why we had black pastors and leaders during the tenure of Barack Obama saying that our president deceived America and did nothing but hurt black families. That's why in here as black people we don't support black businesses. There's a lot of self-hate in the black community. And saints, listen, it's sad to say, but not all of the black hate is out there. Not all of the internalized racism is on the outside. I come to tell you today, it is also infected the church. I might as well go and preach. Y'all ain't gonna help me. Saints, some folk know that regardless of their title or position on their job, they don't have any real power. So they lose their mind when they get a little position and power in the church. So today we have folk in the church who see offices in the church as positions of power instead of opportunities to serve. And folk get territorial and angry over their position. We have folk in the church who have been mad with each other so long they can't even remember what they're mad about. Saints, listen, we have a lot of black self-hate and unresolved anger in the house of God. And saints, all of this self-hatred and all of these issues have caused division. And we sit around in the 21st century church acting like we don't know why we're not as popular as the 19th and 20th century church. But Jesus already told us our house divided cannot stand. And saints, while I'm there, let's talk about this for a moment. Just think about how we talk to one another in the house of God. Is this microphone on? Saints, just think about how we talk about one another in the house of God. Just think about how we treat one another. Can I talk about real stuff? Y'all ain't helping me, but I feel like preaching. In the house of God, we throw rocks and hide our hands. In the house of God, we lie. We say one thing to one person on this side, and we say something different to a person on the other side. In the house of God, we smile in each other's faces, then get on the phone and tear each other down. I said, in the house of God, we spread gossip like wildfire. Can I preach? Saints, you ever notice that the folk who spread the most gossip are the people who ought not open their mouth and talk about anything and anybody with their raggedy situations? But we are hurtful and we are harmful and got the nerve to be talking about when we all get to heaven. And saints, after 31 years of pastoring and preaching the gospel, I know what the old folk meant now when I was young, when they said everybody talking about heaven ain't going there. Saints, there was a time when the black church as a whole was true to its calling, because in the church we saw hypocrisy at its highest level. We saw men and women who claimed to be Christians, but they held our foreparents in slavery. We saw men who claimed to be Christians, but they raped our women. There was a time when we were quick to call out the inconsistency of those who claimed to love Jesus but hated us. But now we have become so infected with the thrill of perceived power, prestige, and position that we are mistreating each other and doing to one another the same thing our enemy used to do to us. Saints, I come to tell you today, as a former therapist, I recognize unresolved issues and black self-hate. Now, saints, the devil specializes in division. Somebody say amen right there. And he specializes in getting us to hate ourselves. And he does this by creating issues that offend. Now, saints, can we just be honest for a moment? As long as you are in an organization dealing with people, you and I are going to get our feelings hurt. But guess what? Not only will we get our feelings hurt, you and I, knowingly or unknowingly, are going to hurt somebody else's feelings. Saints, have you ever had someone in church that just didn't like you, and one day you asked one of their friends, what's her problem? What's his problem with me? And they said, she's mad at you. They are upset with you because you hurt their feelings. Saints, you and I have hurt somebody else's feelings from time to time, and we didn't even know it. And every husband in here knows exactly what I'm talking about. You brothers, come on and help me. Sometimes we get into trouble and we don't know what in the world we did. Come on, brothers, be honest with me. Sometimes what we say as men is true, but we just say it the wrong way. Let me tell you a quick story about myself. First, Alan and I had been married for approximately 2 years. We were poor, and she was in nursing school. I was in graduate school. But she was waitressing and working a full-time job. And on top of going to grad school full-time, I was working 2 full-time jobs. Did you hear what I said? I worked 7 days a week, and Tuesday through Friday, I worked from 7:30 a.m. in the morning to 12 p.m. at night. Well, one day, Fran, I rode to my second job with one of my friends, and Fran came to pick me up from my second job, and it was 12 o'clock at night. I had just worked 4 consecutive days of 16 hours. I had to be at work the next day at 7 a.m. in the morning. Now, don't forget, at this time time I told you that Francetta Allen was in nursing school, she wasn't a nurse yet. She was in nursing school, and I was tired, and I was dozing off during the drive home. And on the way home, while we were driving down the highway, saints, we were almost to our exit, and there was an ambulance and lights and police flashing. There was an accident, and Fran said, wow, Al, look over there. There's a big accident. And I told you, Fanon, I was halfway asleep, and I didn't really know what was coming out of my mouth. But I looked over to her and said, yeah, baby, it looks bad. Whoever it is, we just gonna pray for them. Then she said, Al, as a nurse, I should go over there and see if I can be of some help. I said, no, not tonight, baby. And brothers, it would have been all right probably if I would have stopped right there. It probably would have been all right. But here's where it all went south. The devil made me say something that I regretted for 2 days. I said, anyhow, baby, you ain't a nurse yet. You ain't nothing but a student nurse. And I closed my eyes and I went halfway back to sleep. Now, brothers, I want you to know this. Can I just tell you, there are a lot of traffic lights and there were a lot of stop signs between the exit and our house that was in the hood. And I noticed that when we got to a stop sign or a light, Fran kept hitting the brakes real hard and jerking the car. And then when it was time to take off, she would make the car jerk again. And every time she did it, I would wake up and look at her. One time she did it real hard. And I said, baby, are you all right? And she said, yes. She did it again, Ron, and I said, baby, are you sure you all right? And she responded, I said I'm all right, didn't I? We got to our house, brothers, and she jumped out the car and ran in the house, ran all the way up the stairs and jumped in the bed. I went and got in the bed, and I said, Lord, I don't know what's the matter with this woman, but I got in the bed because I got to be at work in a few hours. And so while we were in the bed, she started wrestling with the covers. You come on, help me in here, sisters. And I didn't feel like wrestling, so I just let the covers go. I got to be at work soon and very soon. So because I wouldn't fight her with the covers, she started sighing. She said, and then a few more again. So I jumped up out the bed and cut the light on. And I said, woman, what in the world is the matter with you? She said, you hurt my feelings. I said, baby, what in the world did I say? She said, you said I wasn't nothing but a student nurse. But brothers, that's what she was. I said, baby, I'm sorry. I'm tired tonight. She said, no, you ain't sorry. You just want me to stop talking. But we're going to settle this thing tonight. Then the Lord, I'm telling you, the Lord loves me. The Lord gave me the words, Donna, to settle this argument. I said, baby, listen, I'm tired and I promise you I'm sorry. And you would just let me go to sleep tonight. I got to work from 7 to 3:30 tomorrow. And when I get off work, I'm going to come straight home and get you. And to make amends and repent, we're going to drive around till we find an accident. And we're going to stay there all day until you help everybody that is there. But I promise you, I'll never, ever, ever call you a student nurse again. Yes. Saints, I just wanted to tell you, I told the truth, but I hurt her feelings and I didn't know it until she almost gave me whiplash. Saints, I don't care how long you've been saved, how big your Bible is or that cross around your neck. If you are in a relationship with another person, at some point you are going to get your feelings hurt or you are going to hurt their feelings. You're going to do something something or you're going to say something that's going to hurt that other person, and they will get mad at you. Let me say it again. All people, Christian or not, will offend someone else at one time or another. Jesus never told you and I that we would not have problems from time to time getting along with one another. In fact, in Matthew 18:7, Jesus said, woe to the world, to the world because of the things that they cause people to stumble. Listen, such things will come. Saints, Jesus here is letting us know in the church that we won't always get along. We won't always agree with one another. There will be things that we say to each other that will leave a bad taste in the other person's mouth. Jesus warned us that our church experience will not always be hallelujah and thank you, Jesus. But every now and then in the church, you're going to speak to some folk and they're not going to speak to you. You're going to pray for some folk who going to be praying on you. Saints, I don't care how good you are and how careful you try to be in relationships, it's going to happen. And saints, look at the group Jesus is talking to in the scripture. He's talking to his disciples. And Jesus knew that this group was going to have difficulty getting along with one another when he was gone. How do you know, preacher? Because they were already having trouble getting along and he was still there. Look at this group of preachers. You got Peter, who would get mad and cuss folk out at the drop of a dime. Then you had Matthew, who was the treasurer, who wanted the pastor to always tell him where the money for ministry was going to come from. Saints, the Bible doesn't say it, but you know when Jesus tried to feed the 5,000 men and their family, the first thing that Matthew said is, Pastor, where this money going to come from? But not only was there Peter and Matthew, there was Thomas, who was always doubting. Then there was James and John, who liked to fight and always talking about who they was going to jump on and whoop in the parking lot. So Jesus knows this group is going to disagree from time to time and they going to fight. And saints, I want to stop right here and give you the exegetical message for this sermon. And it's very simply this. And it is that it's not how we agree in the church that's important, but it's how we disagree. See, saints, Jesus knows that while he's there, his ministerial staff is going to get along and they're going to halfway act right. Oh, but let Jesus go on vacation. Let Jesus take a couple of days off and all hell is getting ready to break loose. Aren't you glad today that the Lord of our life, who is Jesus, doesn't take any days off? Saints, listen, if you want to know the caliber of a Christian, don't judge them and how they act during worship, because only a demon-possessed person will act up during the worship. But wait till they get outside. Wait till they get out in the parking lot. Wait till worship is over, and then you will see the true them. Saints, Jesus tells this motley crew, listen, you were a mess before I called you, and now that you're saved, you're still messy. And you all are going to fight and fall out from time to time. So I'm not telling you to not disagree, but what I want you to learn to do, that when there is disagreement, when you and your brother, or you and your sister fall out, when your brother or sister has offended you and your feelings are hurt, I want you to go to them alone. And saints, I want to stop right there and push this point. Nowhere in this passage of scripture, I'm looking right at it, does Jesus say when somebody hurts your feeling, to go get your sister who likes to fight and confront them in the parking lot. Nowhere in the scripture, I'm looking at it, does it say say when somebody offends you, for you to go get one of your crazy cousins who ain't been to church since Big Mama's funeral and confront the person who made you mad. But the Bible says when they hurt you, you go by yourself and tell the person who hurt you what they've done, and you get that thing worked out. Now, some of you are saying amen, but before you shout, let me give you the directive again. Jesus says, if a person hurts you, if a person harms you, if a person says something about you that's not true, something that you don't like, you must go to them. Yes, saints, instead of rolling your eyes when you see them somewhere, instead of walking away when they come into your space, instead of acting like you don't see them in a public setting, Jesus says, if you were the one that's hurt, if you were the one that was wronged or offended, you must go to them and make the first move. And some of you young millennials need to know that our ancestors believed that God's word was true, and they tried to live and protect and protest with this verse in being their guide. And this is why our ancestors would not fight back in the 1950s and 60s and 70s. They could have fought back. God knows many of them wanted to fight back, but they trusted God at his word. Young people, you ever notice that most of the protesters during the civil rights era were women? Yes, it was women who faced angry dogs. It were women who had the courage to go face fire hoses directed at them. And it wasn't because black men were afraid. The truth is, many black men at that time did not have the temperament to be a part of a nonviolent movement. Because most black men, if you challenge their manhood or you dare put your hands on their wife and their children, you better be prepared to kill them or to die. So during the civil rights era, civil rights organizations had a vetting process. They practiced nonviolence at the church before they went out. They would enact possible situations that could happen while they were out there protesting in the field. And they would walk up to some black men and push them and call them names. And some of the brothers would just go off. And the leaders of the movement would tell them, their Christian brother, you might as well go home. You cussing folk out during the practice. You swinging at folk during the rehearsal. So we got to find something else for you to do in the movement. Saints, listen, the Bible says that the only motivation for you or me to go to someone who has hurt us is to tell them they hurt us should be our desire for restoration. And if you want to nurse and rehearse your pain, if you just want to keep throwing that thing back up in their face, you might as well not go. If you just want to go there so you can mean mug them and give them the stink eye, you might as well not go. If you just want to go and tell them, you know why I don't like you, you know what you did to me, then you might as well not even go. But saints, if you want restoration, then Jesus said, go to your brother, go to your sister alone. And saints, listen, before you go, know this. Some people on your job, some people in your organizations, some of your neighbors, some of the folk you run into in the grocery store, some of the folk on your board or who sing in your choir, they just mean and nasty, and their intent was to hurt your feelings. But most people in the church who hurt you, they did not intend to. They didn't mean to hurt your feelings. They didn't mean to make you feel bad, but because they're human, they did. Saints, let me hurry up and sit down very quickly. Can I tell you how Christians shouldn't communicate in the church when they have been offended? I'm going to give you a quick A, B, and C. Saints, when you are a Christian, you have been offended in the church, you should not throw rocks and hide your hands. Do me a favor, touch your neighbor, say, don't throw no rocks and hide your hands. B, you should not send anonymous letters. Yes, I said it. And C, listen, you should not get on Facebook or Twitter acting rough and tough. Saints, anybody can be big and bad anonymously. Anybody can pop off while they're online. But I stopped come by to tell you that's kid stuff. Anybody can subtweet. And for those of y'all who are over 50 who ain't as cool as me, subtweeting is when somebody gets on Twitter and they're talking about somebody else, but does not mention that person by name. But all of the tweet followers know exactly who they're talking about. Yes, saints, that's ungodly and it's also cowardly. Do me a favor, tell your neighbor, say, neighbor, don't subtweet about me, because if it's not directed, it's not going to be respected. Come on, talk to your neighbor and say, neighbor, listen, if you don't put my name in your post, if you are not man or woman to come to me, to talk to me face to face so we can work it out, I'm not even going to address it. Well, preacher, you told us what we shouldn't do, how we shouldn't communicate when we are offended. But what does a healthy Christian communication look like when we are offended? Well, I want you to think about this words. Tell your neighbor, when you are offended by your brother or sister, I want you to think. I want to use this acronym real quick, and I want to thank Melody Moody today for this acronym. First of all, the T stands for you got to be truthful. When somebody offends you, you need to go to them and be truthful. Saints, don't lie to get along with anybody, because if you have to lie to them, you don't need them in your life. The H stands for whatever you communicate when you're offended needs to be helpful. Saints, if you're just going to be petty and what you're saying is not going to help, then don't say it. Whatever you say needs to be inspiring. Saints, don't just tell folks something that puts them down because they hurt your feelings, but let them see the Christ in you. Let them feel the Spirit of God moving in you to make them a better person. Fourthly, it needs to be, the N stands for necessary. Saints, too many times when we are offended, we say things that are unnecessary to try to hurt the other person and to make them feel like we feel. Then finally, there's K. You got to be kind. Saints, listen, I didn't say be nice. I said be kind. See, many folk in the church are nice because they don't like confrontation. A lot of folk in the church are agreeable because they don't like disagreements. Saints, you can fake being nice, and all of us in here from time to time have been the victim of one of these nice, nasty members. But I want you to know that kindness is different. Kindness means we're going to deal with the issue. I'm going to tell you just what you said to me and how it made me feel, but I'm going to do it in a spirit of love. Saints, kindness is love in action. Well, it's time to go, but let me say this and sit down. I know the sermons have been a little tight over the past few weeks, but I come to tell you there's some things that must be said. Come on, help me in here. This is the time where evil is bold. This is the time when racism is bold, and this is the time when prejudice is bold, and that's why the church must stand up and be bold. Saints, remember, silence is acceptance. Silence, saints, means that what they are doing to us and what they are saying about us is okay, but the devil is a liar. Y'all mama, come on, help me. Saints, I know race is a sensitive issue today. I know some of you are scared, but touch your neighbor and say, don't be scared. Your pastor got your back. Listen, some of you are scared, but I'm called by God to speak truth to power, and I'm also called by God to tell you the truth. And the truth is that the church, the saints of God, the household of faith has to learn how to talk to each other and how to talk about each other in a godly manner. The church of God has to learn how to disagree in a spirit of love. See, in Trump America, you can offend and don't care, but in the house of God, you have to offend and then you have to go and talk to who you have offended. In Trump America, you can wound and walk away, but in in the house of God, when you're wounded, you got to go after. In Trump America, you can criticize and run away, but in the house of God, you have to criticize and chase. In Trump America, when someone calls you a name, then you call them a worse name. But in the house of God, you got to bless them who curse you and pray for them who despitefully use you, not because you're afraid, not because you're weak, but because you feel sorry for them and you try to win them for the house of God. Saints, listen, since Trump has been in office, white folk in general, but white racists specifically, have gotten mighty brave. Y'all afraid to say amen because you're afraid your boss may see this. So just sit there and wink at me and I know that I'm on the right path. Yes, racists have gotten mighty brave. And if you anything like your pastor, there's been a time or two that instead of turning the other cheek, you wanted to tell some of these folk, don't mess around and let your new president get you a whooping. Yes, but saints, our power doesn't come from sticks or stones. I said our power doesn't come from guns or knife. Our power doesn't come from name calling and cussing folk out. Well, preacher, where does our power come from? Your power. Lord, help me preach. And my power, it comes from the Lord who lifts the downtrodden, who rescues the oppressed, who stands by those who try to do his will. If you know today that when others go low, like Michelle Obama says, you and I got to go high in the Lord. Come on, help me close this thing. Ain't he good? Ain't he great? Ain't he all right? All over the house if you're standing. If you're not standing, we ask you to very quickly. Saints, if you're here today watching this program or present physically, and you've never accepted Jesus as your personal Savior, I stand now to offer you Jesus. I want somebody to know he will make your life brand new. Does that mean, preacher, all my troubles gonna go away? Not true. In fact, let me give you a warning. When you accept Jesus, the devil's gonna come after you from every direction. But tell your neighbor it's only for a season. So if you're here today, you've never accepted Jesus, if you're watching, why don't you come? Why don't you call? Here's the second call. Somebody needs to belong to a body of believers called the church. Spirit of God right now is leading you to make Allen Temple your church home. We would love to have you. 2 reasons you should come here. 1, God has work for you to do here. And secondly, I want to be your pastor. So if you're here today, the Spirit of God is leading you to join. We invite you to. Before we have altar call today, I had a brother come in the office today and tell me that his son and his son's fiance had a baby this Monday. During the pregnancy, the young lady died. And so this family is left to grieve. And it's conflicting because you have the joy of a baby being born, but at the same time, the birth of this baby will always be connected to the death of this young lady. You don't need to know who they are. I had prayer with them in the office this morning, but just pray. How many know that prayer will get you through some rough and some difficult times? The little Robinson girl is going to Italy. I want her and her family who are here, I want y'all to come to the altar. It's a crazy time to be traveling abroad. But how many know the same God that has his hands on her right here will keep her as she travels? Preachers, I need y'all to pray with them. The altar is now open for anyone who desires prayer.